Good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream. Today is September the 26th. I am going to do your spiritual principle a day meditation from Narcotics Anonymous. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation. This is our H.O.O.D recovery services. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Let's go ahead and get into the screen. Hopefully you can see that and hear me very well. Today is September 26th, open-mindedness in the third tradition. Tradition 3 asks us to practice open-mindedness toward ourselves, towards others, and toward the possibility of change. Guiding principles, Tradition 3, for members. Tradition 3, which states that the desire to stop using is the only requirement for Narcotics Anonymous membership, is direct, inclusive, and thorough. We can even say that it's radical in what it invites us to do. Leave our judgments about who qualifies for NA membership at the door. As individual addicts, we decide if we qualify, and we leave that decision to others to make for themselves. As with all spiritual principles applied to any single step or tradition, open-mindedness is not an I got this position we take. It's an ongoing process that demands work. The excerpts from our literature that are read aloud in meetings continually confront our views about who is an addict or what is recovery. We need to keep reading them and hearing them and acting on them. They support NA's values of inclusiveness and acceptance of all addicts, no matter where we come from or what we look like, what substances, delivery mode, or quantities we used, what's on our resumes, criminal or otherwise, whom we are attracted to, what our spiritual pursuits have been in the past, if any, and so on. We are all welcome here in theory, and ideally, we're welcomed by each other in practice. At the practical core of this tradition is not only open-mindedness, but also compassion for ourselves and for others. We begin to reject our preconceived notions of belonging, relieve that even a slight desire is enough. We become willing to be a part of a group that will have us as a member. For many of us, that's tough going, as in the past we resisted becoming a member of anything. Our dual low self-esteem and lack of humility told us that a group that welcomes us and is so open to anybody probably is for losers anyway. So why bother? We bother because we're desperate and we want our lives to improve. As we grow, open-mindedness further expands our investments in others' health and well-being. It's the gateway to empathy and unconditional love. Our open-mindedness helps keep others in the room who doubt that they qualify as addicts, who fear being part of a group, or who think that they can't stay clean. I will put my membership to good use by actively practicing open-mindedness. I'll do what I can to make space for others to grow. What a wonderful meditation. I was just having this conversation. In essence, I was having this conversation as I was sharing yesterday for a particular meeting, and I was talking about the inclusivity and how we can make sure, right? The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using, right? How we can make sure that we don't allow religiosity to come into the rooms and start causing division based on who has a God, who doesn't have a God, who their God is. And that was just a conversation that I was having as I was sharing, right? A topic that I was sharing about. But this particular meditation hones in on it even further, and it is delicious. This meditation is scrumptious. I want for you to take the time today to come back to this podcast and to go back over this. Just hit pause when you see it flash up, and start to really ruminate and think about, how do you participate in making sure that any addict that comes through the doors of Narcotics Anonymous has a sense or feeling of inclusivity, and they understand that they are a member when they say they are, and when they say that they are, and they begin to have fellowship with other members, right? That is an honor and a privilege and a right as being, and a responsibility, let me add that, right? Of being a member in Narcotics Anonymous. You know, I'm real regretful, but I'm also thankful. I was regretful because mid-taping the initial podcast of this very early this morning, a couple hours ago, there was an outbreak in my kitchen of two boys going off about a birthday cake and who was going to get the last piece. Well, of course, the birthday boy is going to get the last piece, but it was just so dramatic and I couldn't concentrate. And I had all these terrible visions of cups and glasses and knives and forks. And I just saw all of the chaos that could possibly happen. And I had to abort the taping. Well, you know, I never got back to it. But I want to tell you something. I was regretful initially, but I just remembered, hey, you have not finished the podcast for a spiritual principle a day. And before you take off, seeing how you're not going to get into work as early as you like, why don't you take a moment to spend with your friends and do it right now? And you know something? I'm so okay with it. Because in that time period, my energy was able to settle down, and I really was able to hone in on this meditation today. And I wasn't rushed, and I enjoyed it. And I hope that you did too, but even more than just enjoying it, right? Because even here in this meditation, it says that, as with all spiritual principles, I'm on paragraph 2, applied to any single step or tradition, open-mindedness is not an I got this position we take, right? It's an ongoing process that demands work. And it talks about how the literature and the shares and the meeting are always challenging who's an addict and what is recovery. We want to grow, right? We don't want to be stagnant. We don't want to reach a plateau and say, oh, I got this. This is fine. Never let the level of recovery that you're at right now, personally speaking, be all that you attain. Never let it be enough. There's always more open doors, more opportunities, more failures and successes, more lessons to be learned, more blessings, more invitations, more fellowship, more goodwill, more faith, more humility, more service, more spirituality. This is a place where you can come and don't set a ceiling above yourself, because that glass ceiling that you're setting right even now today is going to be shattered. There's many of you that are always thinking about writing your book, always thinking about starting your business, always thinking about going back to school, always thinking about getting another degree, always thinking about saying yes to the man that proposed to you 5 times, always thinking about starting a family, always thinking about leaving the man that keeps abusing you, or leaving the woman. My goodness, men are being abused physically as well, right? We're always thinking about what we're going to do next. Today, I charge you with this. Live your best life. Go for it. Make that change. Start with you. Start with the man in the mirror, as Michael Jackson was saying. One of my friends emphasized yesterday so very well. Start with you. And start with the yes that you keep thinking about saying, or start with the no that you keep promising yourself that you're going to stand on, right? There's always more. Never be content with where you are and where your 2 feet are right now. Always know that there's another step And hopefully for you, it will be a step forward and not three backwards. I want for you today to enjoy your life and live your best life on purpose. I want you to enjoy your recovery, but also be mindful that lost dreams awaken and new possibilities arise. So let's stay engaged with our recovery and have a beautiful day and life on purpose. I will be talking to you tomorrow.